Hi, Year 4. Hope you're okay. As promised, we are going to look through the answers for the task that you were given to do on Friday. You had some problems to solve using your knowledge of area. So we're going to go through those now and you can mark your own. Okay, so your first one was asking you what is the area of the shaded space. So you can see that the grey area hasn't got the squares marked on, but we can use the squares and the lines around it to be able to visualize those squares. So what I'm going to do, best I can, is to complete the grid over the grey area, and then I can count up those squares. So I can continue these lines down, continue the lines across, and then I can go about counting my squares. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So the value of the area of the shaded space is 11 squares. Okay, we move down to our next question. We were told that Rebecca has rectangular tiles which are 20 centimetres long and 10 centimetres wide. She makes a larger rectangle using 4 of the tiles. What is the area of the larger rectangle? So I'm going to mark on the measurements that I know. So I know that that's 20. And this rectangle is the same rectangle. So this length is going to be another 20. Okay, which gives me 40 altogether. Now I'm going to think about the width. And I've been told that the width of one triangle is 10, which means that the width of 2 triangles is going to be 20. So if I'm remembering that to find area, I need to do length times width. Loving this pen, by the way. I'm going to need to do 40 times 20. Now, I can't use short multiplication for this because it's a 2-digit number, so I'm going to use some if I know facts. So I'm going to start by using the if I know fact of 4 times 2, which gives me 8. So if I know that 4 times 2 is 8, I know that 40 times 2 is going to be 10 times as big because one of my factors is 10 times as big. So that's going to give me 80. And then I can use 40 times 2 to solve 40 times 20. Yet again, my answer will be 10 times as big because I've multiplied 2 by 10. So my answer will need to be 10 times as big, which is going to get me to 800. So the area of the whole large rectangle is going to be 800 centimetres squared. Right, we had shaded rectangles drawn on a centimetre square grid. Sam says the 2 rectangles have the same area as each other and the same perimeter. Is Sam correct? Explain how you know. So what we need to do is find the area and perimeter of each of those rectangles and see if Sam is correct. We've got to prove. So I'm going to look at this rectangle in the top left-hand corner first. I can see that it is 4 centimetres long and 3 centimetres wide. So if I want to find the area, let's call this rectangle 1. If I want to find the area of rectangle 1, I'm going to need to do 4 times 3, which is going to give me 12 centimetres squared. Find the perimeter, I need to do double 4 because I know that my lengths are the same. So 4 times 2, which is 8, and then double 3 because my widths are the same. 3 times 2, which is 6. Add 8 and 6 together will give me a perimeter of 14 centimetres. Let's move on to rectangle number 2 then. So I can see that it's got 2 centimetre width and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 centimetres length. So to find its area, I'm going to do 2 times 6, which gives me 12 centimetres squared. And to find its perimeter, I'm going to double my width. So I'm going to do 2 times 2, which is 4. And I'm going to double my length. So I'm going to do 6 times 2, which is 12. And I'm going to add them together. This gives me 16 centimetres. So Sam is not correct. Finally, we were asked, a rectangle has an area of 36 centimetres squared. How long could the sides of the rectangle be? Give 3 different examples using whole numbers. So this is where my knowledge of times tables and factors is going to come in common. So I've been asked, a rectangle has an area of 36 centimetres squared. How long could the sides of the rectangle be? Give 3 different examples using whole numbers. So this is where my knowledge of times tables and factors is going to be really useful. So remember, when we're finding area, we have to multiply the length by the width. And in this case, it's going to give me an answer of 36. So I need to work out which 2 numbers I can multiply together, which is going to give me an answer of 36. So I'm thinking about factors of 36. So this means I need to think about all of my times tables, and we're going to need to count through those times tables to see if 36 is a multiple of one of them. So I'm going to start with my 3 times tables. And I know that 3 times 12 equals 36. So one of my answers could be 3 centimetres and 12 centimetres. Okay, I'm going to work through my 4 times tables now. If I'm thinking through my 4 times tables, I know that 4 times 9 equals 36. So it could be 4 centimetres and 9 centimetres. Now, I'm going on to think about my 6 times table here. Now I know that 6 times 6 equals 36. However, I've been told that my shape is a rectangle. Rectangles only have 2 pairs of equal sides. If my answer was 6 times 6, that would mean that the sides were the same length. And that's going to give me a square, not a rectangle. So it can't be 6 centimetres and 6 centimetres. So I'm going to think about my 2 times table now. Now 36 is an even number, which means I know I can divide it by 2. Now I can count up in my 2's until I get to 36, or I can do some partitioning to halve 36. So for example, if I found half of 30, that gives me 15. If I find half of 6, that gives me 3. If I put those together, I get 18. So half of 36 equals 18. That means 36 divided by 2 gives me 18. And if I turn that into the inverse, I could do 18 times by 2